saddest thing in the world she did for your betterment. And my dear, nicest thing in the world we did for our betterment. Child, God's greatest gift to a family. Child grows under the protective cover, fortified by the tender care and affection showered by parents and other kith and kin.
But is every child born into this world fortunate enough to have all this? There are many kids who were born into a life of deprivation and degradation, forsaken by their parents. Warmth of the mother's embrace is only a dream for them. In an orphanage, they get food, clothing, and shelter. But to grow up to the level of a human being, what they need is parental care, support from the siblings, and opportunity to bloom, which only a household can provide. These orphans and childless couples fulfill each other's needs.
But now, adoption is no more a desperate measure adopted by childless couples only. In a refreshing development, some parents, maybe very few in number, have adopted a second child in spite of having their first biological one. What must have prompted them to resort to such adoption? Let's meet Kardegotis, Abhay, an environmentalist, and Vandana, a feminist.
खरं तर एक मूल दत्तक घ्यायचं हा निर्णय आम्ही दोघांनी स्वतंत्रपणे लग्नाआधी घेतला होता. प्रॉब्लेम्स असे काही खूप आम्हाला आले नाहीत, कारण एकतर आम्ही स्वतःही खूप पुरोगामी विचारांचे आहोत आणि घरच्यांनी थोडं हे स्वीकारलेलं आहे की ही मुलं स्वतःच्या विचारांनीच वागणार आहेत, त्यामुळे विरोध करण्यात तसा काही मतलब नव्हता. खरोखर मूल ही अशी एक व्यक्ती असते की कुटुंबात ती आल्यानंतर ती तुमचीच होऊन जाते. मग तुमचा कितीही विरोध त्याला असू दे, तो विरोध लगेच मावळून जातो.
Madhu and Santosh Sabnis, two talented civil engineers from IIT, are happily settled with Nishad and Riddhi.
Our biological son Nishad was born after 5 years of our marriage. After a difficult and trying period of bed rest for 9 months, we were blessed with a boy, and both of us really longed for a baby girl. The thought of another pregnancy was unthinkable. It was then that I thought that adoption and not conception is the answer to this. That was the sure way of getting a girl child.
My fear was that whether I would be able to give the same type of love to that adopted child. I used to spend nights thinking about this particular thing. Coincidentally, at the same time, we happened to attend a function in Nishad's school, and Mrs. Meena Chandavarkar, the principal of Nishad school, spontaneously mentioned that adopt a child and admission is guaranteed. That one sentence made me think clearly about the whole concept.
Now, let's listen to Professor Sunil Kulkarni and his wife Vaishali.
पहिलं मूल निनाद आमचा जेव्हा 5 वर्षाचा झाला, 5-5.5 वर्षाचा, त्याच्यानंतर सहज असं लक्षात आलं की वी शुड गो फॉर वन मोर चाइल्ड, अजून एक मूल आपल्याला हवं. मग परत आता ते 9 महिने 9 दिवस डिलिव्हरी या प्रोसिजरमधनं जायचं का एखादं मूल दत्तक घ्यावं का. माझ्या काही आनंदाच्या दुःखाच्या गोष्टी मी माझ्या भावंडांच्या बरोबर शेअर करू शकलो, तर तसं आमच्या निनादला शेअर करायला कोण आहे, तर आपल्याला अजून एक कोणतरी हवं. मग त्याला एक ताई असेल छोटीशी.
This was the reason why the Runwals decided to adopt a boy.
कितने साल तक रुकने का ये हमने देखा हुआ. अभी 4 लड़की हो गई है, और अभी तो बच्चे लोग भी अपने नाराज हो जाते राखी पूर्णिमा के दिन, तो वो हिसाब से हमने सोचा भाई अभी अपने को लड़का दत्तक लेना है.
हमारा जैन समाज इसको अलाउड ही नहीं करता है. उसमें तो घर में दादी सास ससुर इतने लोगों, तो वो बोलते हैं ये बच्चा क्यों ले रहे हो, अपने घर में होगा, 2 देवर है, किसको भी होगा उसका ले लो. मैं बोली नहीं, जिसको मम्मी पापा है उसका मैं नहीं लूंगी, जिसको नहीं है उसको हम बड़ा करेंगे.
Chennai-based Shankar adopted Vishal 8 years back.
Right from start, we were clear that we will have 2 children. The reason was that the way the inputs that we got, it is always better that when the children are together and when they come to a stage where they cut off communication with the parents, they can emotionally support each other.
Motives may vary, but the common undercurrent is love for children and the urge to enjoy parenthood second time. Birth of a child after 9 months waiting period is the most joyous occasion in a family. How many months gestation period was there before these parents chose to adopt a second child?
I would say only the biological or the physical preparation from the mother is somewhat less or absent in case of adoption, whereas the emotional, social, financial preparation, psychological preparation has to be extensive.
तो फिर हमने डिसीजन 1 दिन के अंदर लिया और हम भारतीय सेवा आश्रम में जाके फॉर्म भर के उनसे हमने मांग की भाई हमें जल्दी में जल्दी हमें बच्चा दीजिए.
हमारे समाज में खुद का लड़का चाहिए, तो मैं बोली नहीं, मैं तो ऐसा थोड़ी रहता है. सब बोले किसका रहेगा, कैसा रहेगा, कौन सी कास्ट का रहेगा, अगर इंटर कास्ट रहेगा, मुस्लिम का रहेगा तो तेरे से नॉनवेज मांगेगा, अपन जैनी है. मैं बोली जैसे मैं संस्कार दूंगी वैसा बनेगा वो.
After it became a joint decision, I thought it was time to involve Nishad. He was always very supportive about the whole thing.
In fact, when we went for our selection, we also took Nishad, and Nishad took an important role in selection.
I was very skeptical about what my mother-in-law would think about it.
माझं काहीच ऑब्जेक्शन नाही, मला उलट आनंदच आहे.
When we were going to get her home, that was a great day. There were about 15 of us who went to the institute, and Riddhi was brought home it was a ceremony with 3 cars following one another right from that institute to the house, and the whole house was full of our relatives.
ती घरी आल्यापासून आमची सगळी भरभराट झाली आहे, सगळं झाली. तिच्या ह्याच्यापासून तिचा पायगुणच छान झालाय. ती लक्ष्मीच्या पायानीच आहे, लक्ष्मीच आहे आमच्या घरातली ती.
Still, a doubt lurks in the mind. Would grandparents have allowed adoption of a male child? Kulkarnis had thought about this adoption from many different aspects.
बेसिकली पहिला प्रश्न आला की बाबा हे मूल हुशार असतं का, आपलं मूल म्हणजेच हुशार असतं आणि तिथलं मूल म्हणजे दुसऱ्याचं मूल म्हणजे असेल की नाही. थोडक्यात IQ लेवल, त्याचं फिजिकल फिटनेस त्या मुलाचं काय बाबा, म्हणजे एड्सच्या टेस्ट झालेल्या आहेत का. तर त्यांनी आम्हाला सगळी फाईलच दिली की ते आम्हाला अहो तुम्ही जेवढी काळजी घेणार नाही त्याच्या 10 टाइम्स काळजी आम्ही घेतो. आणि तिच्यासाठी ती एड्स मुक्त होती, बाकी कुठलंही त्याला काही नव्हतं एक्सेप्ट स्कॅबी. याच्याशी लग्न करायला एखादा तरी मुलगा तयार होईल का अशी एक शंका मनात आली. त्यावेळेला हे जेव्हा मी प्रश्न माझ्या 3-4 क्लोज फ्रेंड्स होते त्यांच्याशी जेव्हा डिस्कस केले तर त्यांनी मला या प्रश्नाचा अरे एवढा छोटा प्रॉब्लेम आहे ना, नो प्रॉब्लेम, यू गो अहेड म्हणे, तुझा हा अडचण आहे ना, तुझ्या मुलीशी लग्न कोण करणार. तर मग ते मला ठीक आहे, हा माझा छोकरा, ही तुझी छोकरी, घेतली तुझी पोरगी करून.
Having a biological son has always been the socio-cultural need in India. That's why girls are preferred for adoption than boys.
Deviation from established norms is always controversial. These parents must have met with a lot of obstacles.
Obstacles, actually we were very fortunate to have progressive parents, you see, and then it was about staying in Pune, a progressive city wherein you have social groups, social organizations wherein you are affiliated. It came naturally, so we never had any obstacles whatsoever.
For the gynecologist Dr. Milan Bitskar and his anesthetist wife Dr. Manik, there were no worries while adopting Ashwini.
There were no sarcastic or very adverse reactions from anybody from our relatives, absolutely. Before going for this, both of my sisters are elder to me. One of my sisters is principal in Bombay College. She totally supported me. She ultimately said, in our days, this idea was not there, otherwise we would have also gone for this type of thing.
My husband said once that had I been the Prime Minister, I would have made it a decision that have one and adopt one. So I said, why not us?
Unfortunately, this was not an easy task for the Kulkarnis.
1 जानेवारी 1997 त्या दिवशी सकाळी तिला घेऊन यायचं असं आमचं ठरलं. आदल्या दिवशी आम्ही सगळी तयारी दोघांनीच केली. कुणाला मदतीला बोलवलं किंवा त्या दिवशी ॲटलिस्ट बेबी आणायला आमच्या बरोबर या असं सांगितलं तरी फार काय कुणाचा असा उत्साह दिसला नाही.
एकदा ती अशाच आमच्या नातेवाईकांच्या घरी गेलेली, तेव्हा कधी ती आतापर्यंत आम्ही तिला ठेवलेलं नव्हतं आणि त्या दिवशी तिनं मुक्काम केला आणि ती यायला सुद्धा तयार नव्हती. चला 1-2-3 दिवस ती तिथे जाऊन राहिली आणि 2 दिवसांनंतर जेव्हा ती परत आली, मग इतकं वाईट वाटलं मला की बाबा हे मूल जर का माझं निनाद जर का गेला तर त्याचं तुम्ही व्यवस्थित शिशूत व्यवस्थित साफ करा, पण निवड ही मुलगी दत्तक आहे म्हणून तुम्ही देणार नाही का. मला इतकं वाईट वाटलं की शेवटी आपलं ते आपलं आणि दुसऱ्याचं ते दुसरं, म्हणजे हिला आम्ही ऍक्सेप्ट केली ती आमची म्हणून, पण लोक काय ऍक्सेप्ट करत नाहीत.
करीब रिश्तेदार बहुत सारे नाराज भी हो गए, भाई ये ले रहा ही है, ये हमारा सुन रहा ही नहीं है और ये खुद का ही चलाता है. तो उसमें हमारे एक रिश्तेदार थे कि उन्होंने आना जाना बंद कर दिया. वो जब 2 साल का हो गया उसके बाद वो इतना आना जाना हो गया कि उनकी इतनी जान उनके ऊपर हो गई कि वो अगर नहीं भी मिला दिन भर में तो भी वो नीचे ऊपर करने के भाई किधर गया पवन, किधर गया पवन.
और जब लेना था तो उसको इतने चिकन बॉक्स थे तो ये आश्रम वाले बोले कि हम अभी नहीं दे सकते, आपको महीना 1.5 महीना जब तक वो कवर होता है तब तक हम नहीं दे सकते. लेकिन मैं बोली नहीं, मैं अगर मेरे खुद के बच्चे को होता था तो मैं क्या उसको महीना 1.5 महीना किधर रख के तो नहीं आती थी. ऐसा समझो कि मेरा ही बेटा है, मैं लेने तो वाली मैं ही हूँ. चिकन बॉक्स में भी लेके जाऊंगी, मैं खुद इलाज करूंगी, लेकिन मैं अभी लेके जाऊंगी.
The D'Souza's, a Christian family of 4, experienced difficulties not because of relatives but because of law.
As many of us may be aware, in India today we only have the Hindu adoption law, whereby Hindu families can adopt a child. That too is limited because if they have a son they can adopt a daughter, and if they have a daughter they can adopt a son. Whereas with the other communities like Christians, Muslims, Parsis, we have no adoption law in India, and the parents are appointed as guardians of the child till the child reaches the age of 18. Then there are small difficulties which come up which one faces, but in terms, for example, the child does not have a birth certificate, which every other child has from the municipal corporation. Now because of this, at every stage, whether you have to enter the child's name in the ration card, whether you have to go for a school admission, whether you have to go for a passport application, and a child who is taken as a ward does not have a proper birth certificate. So as a stopgap arrangement, the institutions provide what we call a birth affidavit.
It's certainly not an obstacle, but definitely an entrance test which parents have to undergo before having a second child by choice.
We take a statement from the parents as to why they want to adopt another child when they can have a child and they have a child. And we want to assess whether there is really a room for another child in their heart and in their home. And then only we accept them. Also, the preparation of the biological child. The child needs to be prepared for another child in the home because the child was all alone all these days and having all the attention and love from the parents. The child also needs to be prepared to share the attention and love from the parents with another child.
When I think about all the people who really supported me throughout this procedure, I would also like to mention some negative points which we experienced during the procedure. Legally, this whole process gets over only when the magistrate okays this and signs this. One of the thing was that the magistrate, I'm very sorry to say this, but was a little nasty about the whole issue with us. I don't know what he had against us, but was a little nasty. It was only because we were so much, I wanted this to go ahead and to go ahead smoothly so much that I had to really curb myself and not say anything over there in the magistrate's room, but just to accept whatever remarks he had to put upon us, and finally we went ahead. I mean, he gave us the signature and we could really go ahead with the adoption procedure.
These siblings teamed up in this fashion, overcoming a series of obstacles. How do they relate to each other?
Nishad has always grown up in cousins, but with Riddhi, he has a special, very different, very intimate relationship. The two together, I think, have the same relationship which I had with my two sisters.
After Riddhi came into the house, I never felt lonely. Even if a third person came, we were always as a team and Riddhi stood up to me.
சரி சரி ஓகே அது எப்போதும் சண்டை இருக்கும் நார்மல் தானே பசங்க விஷால் வர்ஷா fight is normal no
It appears Shankar's children are fighting in Chennai and Vishal has appealed to his Supreme Court in Pune.
See, this is normal. I mean, children sometimes are very close. You find them that they sit together on a PC and then they keep playing games together. One person encouraging the other, and then you find that everything is lovely. On the other hand, sometimes they'll be pulling each other's shirt and dresses, and they'll be fighting. It's normal. I think that is the best way to make. See, in the field of nurturing, the children, the siblings have to grow in a proper environment where the communication need not be always positive. It can be a combination of love, care, fights and whatnot.
They fight with each other, they play with each other, they shout at each other. They're like no different from the normal brother and sister.
If an adoptee gets more attention from the parents, then biological child is likely to nurse the feeling of neglect.
On the contrary, biological child may take advantage of his or her biological status to dominate the adopted sibling.
In such cases, parents have to be very, very careful. It is an important task before them to prove their absolute impartiality. Still, on the whole, in case of have one adopt one situation, adopted child is less likely to be subjected to excessive pampering or rigid discipline than in the case of single adoption by childless couples.
Trained parents can raise their child in more normal conditions.
आमच्या बायोलॉजिकल चाइल्डला जेवढा त्रास झाला आम्हाला की त्याला आम्ही पहिलंच असल्यामुळे इतकं जपायचो सारखं की अरे ऊन लागतंय नको जाऊ, थंडी आहे नको जाऊ, पाऊस पडतोय किंवा पाणी उकळून दे, दूध बदलायचं नाही त्यामुळे गावाला जायचं नाही, या असं जे त्याच्यामुळे तो जितका नाजूक झाला तेवढं आम्ही तिला पहिला एक्सपिरियन्स असल्यामुळे दुसरे तिला पहिल्यापासूनच आम्ही सगळीकडे एक्सपोज करत गेलो त्यामुळे ती रफ अँड टफ झाली.
Pavan, the only brother of the four sisters, the apple of their eyes. Runwals, Kardeguttis, Sabnis, Kulkarnis, all these siblings have proved that bond of love is stronger than the bond of blood.
Yet parents find it difficult to disclose to the adopted child the secret of his birth.
The child needs to know that it was not born to them, but it was adopted by the family, adopted by his parents. We say that it should be told by the parents themselves. There are some books like this where the poems and the stories of birds and animals, and where the concept of having two sets of parents, biological parents as well as the parents who can raise the child. So these concepts positively inculcated in the child from the childhood makes it easy for the child to grow up with the fact.
We used one such a tool is a book like this where this becomes a bedtime story for the child. and then he runs through all this, and he knows that this is where where he was. This is the birth mother, and then birth mother loved him so much, and then she couldn't take care of him, so she met the social worker, and then we were, as parents, we wanted a child. And then the story goes on like this, that how a social worker was in between to ensure that the adoption plan of the birth mother was matched with the adoption plan of we adoptive parents, and then we took care of him. When we should tell that he was adopted. We shouldn't use the word he is adopted. We tell that as more of a arrival story. We tell that he was adopted. So she was born, he was adopted. So the child also, even when the child hears all this, he feels that this is something related to an arrival story. It has got nothing to do with my present status.
असं वाटत होतं की मुद्दामून गोष्ट किंवा असंही करण्यापेक्षा जर काही नॅचरल काही घटना घडली एखादी, तर त्यातून आपल्याला सांगता आलं तर बरं होईल. आणि एक इतकी चांगली घटना घडली की ज्या योगे हे सांगणं आम्हाला खूप सोपं गेलं असं मला वाटतं. की आमचे एक मित्रमैत्रिणी आहेत आणि त्यांनाही स्वतःची एक मोठी मुलगी आहे आणि आत्ता त्यांनी मुलगा दत्तक घेतला. आणि हे सगळं चालू असताना घेण्यापूर्वीचा ते खूप दिवस आमच्याशी बोलत होते की कसा निर्णय घ्यायचा, तुम्ही कसा घेतला होता, हे सगळं आम्ही बोलत होतो. आणि तेव्हा मला असं वाटलं की हा एक चांगली आपल्याला जुळून येणारी गोष्ट आहे, तर आपण त्या निमित्तानेच का नाही पारुलला सांगायचं ती कशी आली ते. आता तिला आम्ही खरंच तर सांगितलंय, पण तिला ते कितपत कळलंय माहित नाही. म्हणजे कोणी प्रेग्नंट बाई बघितली किंवा कुणाकडे बाळ आलंय असं कळलं तर मात्र ती हे तिला आईकडून वधवून घ्यायचं असतं की मी तुझ्याच पोटातून आली आहे ना.
No doubt, mothering has much more to it than merely giving birth, but has the secret of birth brought in any change in the relationship between Ashwini and her mother?
I don't think she still understands it fully, but whatever she knows about it. Only first reaction was that she cried that day and she said, why haven't I come from your tummy? And then she cried for 1 or 2 days. Then she asked me from where I have come. How did you think about it? Why did you choose me only? What was reaction of the other people in the house? What did they say? Did everyone know about it? And everyone still knows about it. How many people know about this, that I'm an adopted child, and how many know that I'm not? But slowly, within 15 days, she came to normal. She accepted the fact. And I told her that this reaction doesn't change anything between us. She said, should I call you auntie or some other name? I said, it doesn't change your relation with me. The relation remains the same, whatever you call me. So later on she said, I like to call you mother only.
Were you shocked? No?
Because my mother said that you are mine only, and so no difference in it.
Do your friends know about it? Do you feel bad about it? Still, 10 years old Ashwini has not yet realized it to the full measure. Same is the case with 12 years old Anne D'Souza.
So I already knew that I was an adopted child. So I never found it difficult to take it. But everybody treats me equal, so that's more than enough.
What are your feelings about adoption?
Actually, I don't feel anything. Only sometimes I feel like I remember. I feel that I want to know more about it.
This may be the problem of all the children who are adopted, and when they grow up to puberty and they really understand that what is the significance of all this, maybe they get a rejection feeling, or they feel neglected, or I don't know exactly what they will feel then.
Why was I abandoned? Will I ever be able to meet my mother?
It is said that every adopted child has a tendency to search. For example, in Delhi, now here you find that there is a very loving family which is consisting of a biological child and adopted son. This was drawn by him. He himself has expressed that is a very happy unit. Now there is a particular thought process in him where he has drawn a birth mother here. This is a thought within him only. He is not able to give shape to the face, so he has turned the face of the mother that side, and then he feels that there is some corner in his mind where he is unable to understand what is this.
But this search is futile because this information cannot be legally divulged. Child cannot trace its roots, which leads to a sort of identity crisis. The child becomes too sensitive.
That might be the reason why the parents having the adoptees in adolescent age refuse to appear on the small screen to share their experiences.
Since one of the siblings happens to be the adopted one, there is more scope for comparison with the other and hence misunderstanding arising out of suspicion.
Siblings' love can help the adoptee to get over this problem.
There was a recent case where a 14-year-old girl had come late, and I was sitting there and having dinner, and then she asked the mother, and the argument was going on. The mother was telling that, it's now 10 o'clock and then you said 7:30 you will come. You didn't even make a phone call, this and that, and it was going on and on. And during the heat of the argument, the 14-year-old child said, will you talk to me like this if I was born to you? And that was like putting a bullet in the middle of the forehead. And then, this had to come up. I mean, one day or the other, this topic had to come up. But the point is that this mother handled this situation very well. She said that, look here, this particular topic now is you coming late and you didn't give a call. That is all it is all about. And if you want to somehow drag the topic of adoption into this whole thing, we will talk about 10-15 minutes later, but the point is, why did you come late? Now she was able to differentiate between this and that, and she didn't allow the child to mix a particular topic of that particular instance with adoption.
Such unhappy or miserable, painful moments are fortunately a passing phase of development of an adopted child's life and that family's life, and generally the adolescents come out quite well.
Genes do play an important role in the development of the child's personality, but ultimately what dominates the development is nurture more than the nature. What a child needs is an opportunity to bloom.
Anne's case bears an eloquent testimony to this. Here is Anne sharing with other adoptees the secret of her success.
You should go forward, do what you want, only when you need or when you want to think about it, think for a little while, but don't let that make sad and you can't go forward. If you go forward, that's much better than trading back because you are going in loss, they are not going.
Having one by chance and adopting one by choice is a very small but significant step towards population control. There have been problems in the past, there may be some in the future, but happiness still prevails in their homes.
After all this, do you feel we regret this decision?
मैं उस माँ को बहुत दुआ देती हूँ कि उसने मेरे को बेटा दे दिया.
These adoptees have become an inseparable part of their families. That's why little Parul wonders, why doesn't a family album contain her photographs right from the time of her birth?
Where did I come from, Mama? Where was I? You were hidden in my heart, dear.